Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today on It's Armageddon, we're going to be talking about the 12th Doctor. And in today's video, we are going with the scenario, the aliens have returned. Those pesky aliens, always coming to take our Doctor Who. We really need to put some, money into our military to try to fight these bad boys off at some point, taking our Doctor Who. So, in this one, the aliens have decided they're big fans of Peter Capaldi's Doctor and his acting, which his acting's fantastic. And they've decided that they're going to allow us to keep 5 stories from each series of Doctor Who and 2 of the 4 specials that he did, including Christmas specials and so on. I believe he had 4 Christmas specials. So, half the Christmas specials we can keep and 5 episodes from each season, which is slightly less than half. And if you were the one nominated to pick which stories you could keep from each series, which ones would you pick and why? I'm going to tell you mine. Series 8, Deep Breath. I like Deep Breath. I've talked about it many times. It's grown on me. I've always liked it to one degree or another. I wasn't just blown away by it like I was the 11th Hour. But every time I rewatch it, I appreciate it more and more. It does a lot of things I like. Capaldi really did nail getting into the role pretty quickly. I'm not sure if I like the kind of gray area Doctor, the am I a good man thing, but Capaldi's acting in it is just phenomenal. He was good day one in the role, even if the 12th Doctor's in the middle of my Doctor's list. And then the story's good. I mean, Clara does some things that doesn't really make sense, like her not believing it's the Doctor's kind of weird since she's interacted with literally every incarnation before 12, so that's weird. And it's there, I think, just for the cameo with 11, which is a great cameo, I might add, but it feels a little forced. But I do enjoy it. Plus, it's the Doctor talking to a T-Rex. I love that. You can't beat that. Next on the list is Mummy on the Orient Express. I love that. That's my favorite story of Series 8. I love this episode. It's well written, it's well directed, it's well acted. I love the clock ticking down. I love the resolution of the story and how it has a technological scientific explanation. I just love this story. It's fantastic. Next on the list is Flatline, easily my second favorite story of the season. I love when Doctor Who does something different, and the idea of creatures from a 2-dimensional plane creeping into the 3rd dimension and learning and adapting to that situation is fascinating. I would have never thought of that. And it's executed well. Such a great concept, and it's executed really well. I love Flatline. Such a good episode. And it's one of the few episodes where I really like Clara with 12. I like her kind of taking charge here. Since Capaldi's kind of sidelined, she actually does a good job having to be a makeshift Doctor, which is not something I say very often, but I do actually like her in this episode. Next on the list is Time Heist. I like Time Heist. Time Heist is kind of like Doctor Who does Ocean's 11, and I tend to like the Ocean's movies a lot. They're fun. They're kind of silly, but they're fun. That's kind of how this one is. It's nice to see them on kind of a fun little adventure romp when even the Doctor doesn't know quite what's going on because of the memory worm thing. It's fun. And I love the fact the Doctor figures out the person leaving him all the messages and how he figures out. That's clever. I like that. A lot of fun. A lot of fun. I love a good fun Doctor Who episode. And then I was going to go with Robots of Sherwood for my 5th one because that's probably my next favorite. But I ended up picking Into the Dalek just because I think that's more important. I think it's a fun one. It's a nice look kind of into how this Dalek thinks. I enjoy that. I love the conversations between the Dalek and the Doctor. So while I prefer Forest of the Night, I think Into the Dalek is more worthy of saving if I could only save 5. Moving on to Series 9, right off the bat, Heaven Sent. Gotta keep Heaven Sent. One of the best Doctor Who episodes ever made. Capaldi is just, he cements why he's one of the best actors to ever play the Doctor. He pretty much carries this episode by himself. But the writing, the directing, everything is good. That song by Murray Gold, the Shepherd's Boy, is a beautiful piece of music. I think I have that on my iTunes, actually. Just a phenomenal piece of Doctor Who. One of those things where, anytime I meet someone who just watches the classic show, this is one of the ones I point to and go, no, you should see this. It's good. I promise it's good. Maybe not the episode right after, but you should see this one. The next one on the list Before the Flood and the other one from there, Under the Lake. Is that it? I'm counting two-parters as 2 episodes, by the way. I didn't mention that at the beginning, but two-parters do count as 2 episodes because we are. I should have clarified that. You can only say 5 episodes from each season, not 5 stories, 5 episodes. So I am counting two-parters as 2 episodes. So no cheating there. I should have mentioned that. I should have been specific. 5 episodes from each season, not 5 stories. I do count that since series 9 is mostly two-parters. But I do like the Under the Lake Before the Flood 2-parter. It's really good. It, heaven sent, I think, are the only really good episodes in series 9. So I would keep that one. I do enjoy both of those and the way it plays with time. I love the Doctor Who episodes that are clever with time. And that does a good job with that. And then I probably, as much as I like Sleep No More, I don't think it's worthy enough to save. It does do some neat things, but not worthy enough to save. I'd probably end up saving The Magician's Apprentice and Witch's Familiar. It's my least favorite Dalek story. My least favorite, but it has some good moments. It has some really dumb moments, but it has some good moments. Some of the conversations between the Doctor and Davros are really good, at least all the way up until the point where it turns out to be a cop-out because the producers had no balls. They just had some balls and actually went with what they were setting up. I have so much respect for that production team, but they chickened out. They couldn't kill off Davros. They couldn't let him be sincere because he was dying. No, it had to be his dick dastardly plan. So disappointing. Such a good potential for an episode that just ultimately ended up being disappointing. But before it becomes disappointing, it's still pretty decent. I mean, there's some other stuff. The Doctor playing a guitar on a tank is weird, with sunglasses on is weird. The whole bit with Missy at the beginning is weird. It's a very flawed story, but it has some nice moments in it. So I'd save it for those moments. That and most of Series 9 is terrible. Moving into Series 10, right off the bat, Thin Ice. I love Thin Ice. It's my second favorite Capaldi story after Heaven Sent. I love how it just looks, very, well, I was going to say period accurate, but I wasn't there, so I can't say. But it really does a good job of convincing me they're back in Victorian times. Isn't that when they're supposed to be Victorian times? I love their outfits. I love the setting. I love the way it makes you think you're there. I love the conversations between the Doctor and Bill, especially when she's confronting him about whether or not he's seen people die. Have you ever killed people? Well, you don't look fazed by it at all. Well, if I do, then more people die. I love that whole scene. I love the fact that you see a kid get killed. He just like the kid running with a screwdriver, and then you see his hand sticking out of the ice with a screwdriver. And I'm like, that's kind of brutal. Doctor Who hasn't been that brutal in a long time. I think the last time I remember going, oh my goodness, they killed a kid was like in School Reunion at the beginning when the girl got sent to the principal's office, and you just know they hate her. So that's pretty interesting. And then I like when he's talking to Bill about, all right, we're going to stay calm and we're going to negotiate peacefully, and he ends up punches the guy in the face. It's a good episode. I love Thin Ice. It's such a good episode. Next on the list is the World Enough in Time, Dr. Falls 2-parter. What a great series finale. A really good send-off. Part 2 doesn't quite live up to Part 1, but it's still really good. I love seeing the Mondasian Cybermen back. I love a companion being turned into a Cyberman. What a twist. I love the reveal of the Master being there, which frustratingly was spoiled by the trailer for the series that he was coming back. That would have really been a fist-pounding moment if you didn't know ahead of time. But even when it happened, I was still like, that's pretty cool. It's good to see Sims back. Our first multi-master story. That was pretty cool. And then, of course, Capaldi gets his I do what I do because it's right speech, which is a fantastic speech. It's a great 2-parter. I really enjoy it. And you have to save it. You have to. The next one on the list is Empress of Mars. I kept forgetting. I always forget about this story. I don't know why, because I love Empress of Mars. It's a great story. I had to look at the back of the Steel book when I was looking at the episodes for this season. I'm like, what else is in this series? And I'm like, oh yeah, Empress of Mars. I love that one. It's a good one. I tend to like the Ice Warriors, but their stories are hit or miss, even though they don't have that many. I don't know if I've ever ranked the Ice Warrior stories, but I need to see Monsters of Peladon, which I know one of my patrons actually has a copy of Monsters of Peladon coming. I actually should be picking that up from the post office tomorrow. I think I'm going to do that. I think after I watch Monsters of Peladon, I think I'll do an Ice Warrior story ranking video. I think I'll be able to do that. It's a good idea. But I like Empress of Mars a lot. I love that their gun, the Ice Warrior's gun, the effect of the way it kills people by scrunching up those little balls. It's a very, like, classic Who way of killing someone. You know, I mean, it's not how they kill people in classic Who. But it looks like if you didn't know better, you'd be like, is that a classic Who effect? It's like they took a classic Who idea and did a modern Who version of it that still was trying to kind of resemble the classic Who version of it. So it's like a classical take of a modern Who way to kill someone that classic Who would have used but didn't. I think I got that right. But I love it. I don't know. Just every time I watch them die, I'm like, yeah, it's like they were doing a nice homage to a classic Who ray gun death right there. It works. It's a good episode. And then the last one for me, I was debating between Smile and Extremis. I tend to hate the Monk trilogy, but I actually do like Extremis. And I like Smile, but I found I'd keep Extremis over Smile, even though I probably like Smile better, just because I like the idea of Extremis. Now, I hate part 3, and I mean hate, not dislike, hate part 2 and 3 of the Monk trilogy. They're garbage, they're awful, some of the worst episodes of Doctor Who ever written, unwatchable, garbage. But Extremis I like because it's kind of a neat idea with the reveal that so much of what we've been seeing in the episode is just, you know, a digital copy and not really them. You know, it's kind of like the modern Who version of the android invasion in a way, because it is about a group of aliens who are trying to invade, who are running mock tests so they can get it right when they invade. So in a way, it kind of reminds me of the android invasion, but the android invasion is like the old school analog version of that, whereas Extremis is like the new age digital version of that. So you have analog version, digital version. And again, they're different, but they kind of remind me of each other. You know, to me, one is kind of the classic equivalent of the other, and one is kind of the modern equivalent of the other. So I like that as well. So Extremis, I like the idea. The follow-up episodes suck, but those ideas are good in Extremis. And the 2 specials, I would say, because there's 4 Christmas specials, Last Christmas, Mysterio, Husbands of River Song, and Twice Upon a Time, I think, are his specials. I would save Husbands of River Song and Twice Upon a Time, because the other 2 are garbage. I don't like Dr. Mysterio. He has that one little speech he does at the end about everything ends and it's sad. That's a cool little speech. I do like that speech. Don't care for the rest of it. Last Christmas is mostly garbage. Nick Frost is good. It's nice to have Michael Troughton in it. Nice little joke he makes about Alien, you know. No wonder people keep invading you. That's funny. The little nod to Alien is cool, but the episode sucks. Now, if Clara had left in Last Christmas, and that had actually been her ending, with it turning out her being old, and it was just really in the future for her, that would have been a great send-off. I would have loved that. But the fact that it turned out to be yet another fake-out, I hate Last Christmas, adamantly. But I love Husbands of River Song. That's a great one. I really enjoy that. It's not often you see the Doctor ahead of River at knowing what's going on, kind of. I like that he's kind of ahead of her in this story for a change. And then Twice Upon a Time, which I really enjoy. It has its problems, especially with the first Doctor, but I think it's a good story. I really enjoy it. I love how it incorporates with the 10th planet. And I love Capaldi's hair in it. His hair is fantastic. He's finally got his Doctor hair, I think. I wish he'd had that the whole time. So those are the ones I would save. I want to know which ones you would save. So comment down below and let me know for what 5 Capaldi stories you would save in each series of his era. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out. My goal for 2023 is to reach 1,000 subscribers. So anyone who enjoys my content, if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and click that button. I appreciate it. I also have a Patreon. That does help me keep bills paid. I would certainly appreciate if you'd take a minute and check that out. So several different tiers there to look at. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me. That's down in the description below, as is a link to my Amazon wish list, which I update regularly. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Dr. Finn Perkins, Colin Coney, and Stephen Crane. I appreciate their continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.